I'm Eve from Cake Advisor, and today we're going to make a very special Easter cake, which is going to be a white chocolate mousse cake with a strawberry confit layer covered with red mirror glaze. And the cherry on top of the cake is going to be a hand-painted Easter drawing. And if you are new to our channel, I invite you to join our kitchen and subscribe to our channel. So we're going to start with our mirror glaze, and we're going to be using 80 grams of gelatin soaked in water, 225 grams of sugar, 100 grams of white chocolate, 225 grams of glucose syrup, 125 milliliters of water, and 10 grams of cream. So first we're going to be cooking our syrup. So we are going to put the sugar, the water, the cream, and the glucose syrup in a pot. And we're going to cook this syrup on a stove until it reaches 105 degrees. After we cook the syrup, mix it very well again, and we're going to pour it over our chocolate. So take any tall glass. The cups that are coming with the hand blenders will do just fine. Pour the chocolate inside and pour the hot syrup on top of the chocolate. Let it sit for a few minutes to melt the chocolate and blend it all together. I'm stopping the video just for a few seconds, and I'd like to ask you that if you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel, like, subscribe, or share it with a friend. And the last part, we need to put in the gelatin, but we need to wait and cool down this mixture under 60 degrees, because over 60 degrees our gelatin is going to be ruined. So just leave it to cool down for a few minutes. In the meantime, it's cooling down. We're going to melt the gelatin in the microwave, but very short pulses. We do not want to get it over 60 degrees. And after it cooled under 60 degrees, we're pouring the gelatin in, and again we're blending all with a hand blender. Do not move the blender a lot, just dip it all the way down and blend it together. We do not want to see those bubbles. As less is better. And the last step, we're going to color our mirror glaze. I'm going to make 3 colors, red, white, and pink. So I'm adding some red food coloring, white food coloring, and afterwards I will mix them both together and we will get the pink one. And an important tip from me, I use approximately half of a liter of red mirror glaze, and if you don't want too much white on your mirror glaze, use only 50 milliliters of white and 30 milliliters of pink. Again, avoid moving the blender too much. We do not want the bubbles. The bubbles we do eventually get, because we can't without. We are going to cover the glaze with food wrap, and the food wrap needs to touch the glaze, and after it will sit about 8 hours in the fridge, the bubbles are going to stick to the food wrap, and this way we're going to pop the bubbles. Now it's very important that the food wrap is touching the glaze. Okay, so this is it for now. Wrap it in food wrap and place it in the refrigerator for about 8 hours, preferably overnight. Next, we're going to make the almond sponge. We're going to be needing 35 grams of almond powder, 20 grams of sugar powder, 15 grams of flour, 80 grams of egg whites, and 20 grams of sugar. So first, we're just going to use a fork or whatever to mix the dry ingredients. And the second step, we're going to beat the egg whites with the sugar. We need to reach a very fluffy foam. Okay, very stiff, fluffy foam. Next, I'm going to mix a little bit of the egg whites with the dry ingredients. Just just to make it easier for folding the foam later. And after I mix the small amount, I'm going very gently folding the foam in. Take any flat baking pan, cover it with baking paper, pour our batter on the pan, and we need to approximately 1 centimeter thick. Place it in the oven for about 10 minutes, 180 Celsius degrees. Next we're going to make the strawberry confit, which is basically a fancy word for strawberry jelly layer. So we're going to be using 200 grams of strawberries, 100 grams of granulated sugar. Blend it all together with a hand blender and then cook it for approximately 5 to 10 minutes until it thickens and all the water is evaporated. Again, cool it down beneath 60 degrees, and afterwards we are going to put inside 7 grams of gelatin soaked in water. Pour in the melted gelatin, mix it very well into the strawberry jam, and now we're going to pour it into a round ring, which I covered the bottom with food wrap. So just pour it in and place it inside the refrigerator to set for a few hours. For the white chocolate mousse, we're going to be using 400 milliliters of whipped cream, 180 milliliters of milk, 300 grams of white chocolate, and 12 grams of gelatin soaked in water. Third step is to whip the whipped cream until we have a fluffy foam. For the next step, we're going to melt the chocolate, so heat the milk on the stove, but don't boil, just heat it, and pour the hot milk on top of the chocolate, let it sit for a few minutes, and then mix the chocolate with the milk. Next, as before, let this mixture cool beneath 60 degrees and pour in the melted gelatin. While our chocolate is cooling to room temperature, we're going to prepare the ring. So I'm using a 7-inch ring and I'm wrapping it in food grade wrapping plastic very tightly and smooth the plastic so there will be no indents or imperfections. Now that our chocolate mixture is at room temperature, we can mix it with the whipped cream. So just pour the chocolate on top and mix the batter together very lightly, very gently, but thoroughly. And now for the fun part, we're going to assemble our cake. So pour 2/3 of the batter into the ring and place it in the freezer for approximately 10 minutes, even 5 maybe. We just want it to set a little bit, and we're going to place our strawberry layer and our sponge layer on top. If we will not place it in the freezer, when we're going to put the layers, they're just going to sink in, and this is something they do not want. So place it in the freezer, let it set for 5 minutes, take it out, place the layers and cover with the rest of the mousse. And while the mousse is setting, we're going to cut the sponge. So if I used 7-inch ring for the cake, I'm going to cut out a 6-inch circle out of the sponge cake. Just look at that beautiful sponge. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Next, take out our strawberry gel layer. Very gently, using maybe a knife or a plastic knife, scrape it off the edges and very gently take it out from the ring. And now where our mousse is slightly set, we're going to place the strawberry layer, and on top of it we're going to place our sponge. Afterwards, place the rest of the mousse into a piping bag and very gently pipe the rest of the mousse around our layers. Next we're going to make the strawberry confit. You see how it's basically a fancy word for strawberry jelly layer. Already a little bit set. Pipe the rest of the mousse around the cake, as I said, and place the cake in the freezer for approximately 8 to 10 hours, preferably overnight. It needs to be rock hard. For the mirror glaze part. So let's make the pink mirror glaze. Pour some white mirror glaze, a little bit of the red, mix them together, and well, obviously we're going to get pink mirror glaze. Now what I did is, after taking out the mirror glaze from the refrigerator, I melted it in the microwave in short pulses, 30 seconds, until it's all melted. And again, don't leave it in the microwave until it's all melted. Even if you have some kind of parts in the mirror glaze, just blend it together until it melts. We do not want to make it very, very hot. And again, don't heat it over 60 degrees because we do not want to ruin the gelatin. So we need to be very careful and very patient. After reheating the mirror glaze, we need to cool it down till 30 degrees Celsius, between 27 and 30 degrees. This is the working temperature of the mirror glaze. Our glaze is ready for work, and now we need to do everything very, very fast. So first of all, we're going to set up our stand. You need to take some plate if you want to reuse the mirror glaze, something high like a can or a glass. Take out our cake from the freezer, and at the moment you're taking the cake out of the freezer, you need to cover it with the mirror glaze because you do not want it to start sweating. If it's going to start sweating and defrosting, the glaze will not stick. So take the glaze, mix it together very gently, just a few strokes, and start pouring the glaze over the cake. And this is how the magic is happening. When I'm seeing this, I realize that I really love what I'm doing. starting to paint on the glaze. Learn a technique on how to draw on glaze, I'm going to leave you a link to a full tutorial in the description box down below. So thank you for watching our tutorial, and if you have any suggestions or requests on cakes you want me to make, or any questions, please write them down in the comments down below. So I was Eve from Cake Advisor, and I see you in the next tutorial.